Hey traders, welcome to another YouTube Live. This video we're just going to be covering Bitcoin and the price action that we've seen recently in its market. Not really going to dive in on the monthly or weekly. Going to mainly look at the daily as well as 4-hour and hour chart, but we're mainly going to be sticking with that daily 4-hour candle time frame. So to quickly go over the monthly and weekly, we did see the monthly close in a very bullish fashion, breaking above the descending resistance. That's a bullish indication of a shift in trend. We do have our key level of resistance on the monthly sitting around $11,500, $12,000, somewhere around there. So overall on the monthly, it looks like we could see a little bit more of a push, but right now we are just in consolidation. Looking at it on the weekly chart, we see that little pullback from the recent high of around 90, high 96s, maybe 97 on the Coinbase exchange. But overall, we have hit a level of resistance on the chart, and it looks like we're just consolidating horizontally at this current point, seeing a lot of volatility, both from the upside and downside, seeing a lot of wicks protrude up and below the bodies of the candles. Not much more to talk about on the weekly. Still recently broken the descending trend line, and overall still looks bullish. Now let's take it to the daily. So this is when things get a little bit interesting, because the daily candle still has around 7 hours left for it to close on the Gemini exchange here. We can see that by looking at the 12-hour, which gives the time, which it still has 6 hours and 43 minutes, so just under 7 hours left until the daily candle closes on this exchange. But overall, it's looking a little bit more bearish. Why is it looking a little bit more bearish? So we got two exchanges. We got Gemini, and then we got the CME futures. Both exchanges, we see a lot of sell pressure with this big long wick coming from up above near the recent high, and it looks like the candle is now closing below the open, which is very bearish. We see the bulls try to push the price up above the recent high there, but within that same daily candle, the sellers rejected the price, bringing it right back down even lower than its open, which is definitely a bullish sign. We see that there's overall a lot of sell pressure recently, whereas initially, when we saw the consolidation, we saw more buy pressure with the wicks protruding below the zone. So it's not looking awesome for BTC bulls at this point in time. We do see a strong level of resistance turn into a new level of support. It's obviously a zone, so it'll look something like this. So we know that there is buy pressure below the area, but just looking at that single wick there, it does not look awesome for the bulls. We could get a little retracement down, kind of like we saw here. We did see the price initially hold above a zone, and then it turned into a minor level of resistance, and then we got to dump down, holding our next level of support, which we saw right here. We could see something similar where we have a minor level of support get held right there, and then we come back down to our lower level of support, somewhere around the 9K range, and then we could see another move up. So I am potentially looking for a little bit more shorts at this point, because we see a key level of resistance. We see a strong bearish volume looking like it's going to close on the daily chart. So we could see a nice little pullback again to maybe around the 9K range, right around there. So that's the potential short-term outlook for BTC. But on the macro picture, it still does look like a bullish breakout, and we're trying to capture some exposure for the downside just for the little pullback. And if it does come into a bigger pullback, that's great. We'll just try to hold on to our trades. But overall, I could see a little pullback to around the 9K range, but the overall aspect of the trend is still upward. We could just have a nice little retracement within the overall trend. So now that we've discussed the daily, let's jump into the 4-hour and then to the hour soon after. So there is that major rejection from the sellers. We see that big wick right up there. And then what I was talking about initially is seeing a lot of wicks to the downside. We see this wick right here to the downside and this wick right here to the downside. So before this current wick right here that we're talking about, we saw a lot of wicks to the downside, which for me was a signifying thing in the chart, or the DNA in the chart, that is showing me that there is a lot of bullish pressure within the area. We see a lot more volume accumulation. We see a lot more bullish volume compared to the sell volume. There's a lot of indications showing me that there is a lot of bullish pressure. at this zone right around here. And there is a lot of bullish pressure within that range right around there. So when we were seeing that indication that there was a lot of bullish pressure, and when we were seeing the price push up above the previous level of resistance, that was looking really good for the bulls. But what we saw while the bullish push was occurring at this point here is we still have a lot of sell pressure keeping the price at this current zone in time. So we're basically within a consolidation right here where we have a strong level of both support and resistance, and now we're just bouncing from resistance to support, and in this current market, it would make sense to long at the supports and short at the resistance. But I think for me at least, I'm going to have a little bit more patience and try to see the market either push to the upside and hold on the 4-hour time frame. So we saw the 1-hour time frame push above, but we're looking for the 4-hour time frame candle closure to be above the resistance or below the support in order for us to try to find and for the price to signify a shift in trend, because the trend right now is just within the horizontal zone. You see that previous level of resistance turn into a strong new level of support at around the $9,200 area right around here, and then now we're seeing a strong level of resistance around the $9,500 area. For now, we're just in a nice zone of consolidation, and we're looking for either for the price to break above and then try to potentially retest on the $9,500 area, or push below the $9,200 area, retesting it for a valid level of resistance before pushing back down, potentially coming to our next key zone, which is probably going to be around the 9K zone. So overall, that is the outlook for the 4-hour chart. The 1-hour chart is going to be very, very similar. We're mainly looking at the 4-hour chart for the overall market structure that could occur within the next couple days here. We're not looking at 15-minute charts. We're looking at 1-hour charts at the minimum for time frame. So we're not going to be doing anything. We're going to be very patiently waiting until this consolidation ends. We see strong levels both from the buyers and sellers. We do have a long position in on some alts. Currently trying to gain a little bit of short exposure, but while the price is within this consolidation, I think we will patiently wait it out and see what the market is able to bring us, because if we do break down below here, we could have a nice short opportunity to try to capture the price for the move, for this move down here, taking it all the way to maybe the $8,300 or $8,400 range right here. So that would be a pretty phenomenal short until this area. That would be good. And if we don't actually get the price to break below the $9,100 zone, then we'd be looking for longs to continue the momentum from that cup and handle pattern. Remember, this is the cup and handle pattern where we see the strong level of resistance turn into another resistance. Previous level of resistance equals new level of support. So the structure does still look bullish as long as we're within above this consolidation. And then if we are able to get the price to break above the zone, hold it on the 4-hour, and then retest, hold it on the 4-hour or even daily candle, that would be looking really good for a potential move to the upside. So I'm not looking for any moves just yet. I'd like to see a little bit more of a confirmation from the price before I look to enter, but that is how I'm viewing the structure of Bitcoin at this moment right now. Not even going to get on the 1-hour chart because it's a little bit granular. Let's talk about it a little bit because we do have a nice descending trend line that's been respected twice now as a new level of support. We see that right here. Descending trend line, resistance, resistance, resistance. Once it broke down, we got one touch of a support and then 2 touches of support. Once we hit that second touch of the support right here, we got a surge in buy volume, which initiated the wick to the upside, and then we tested the previous level of resistance for a second time there, and that's where we've identified, wow, there's a lot of sell pressure pushing the price right back down. We did manage to close on the hourly right here, which is pretty bullish, and then the next candle slammed us basically right back down to where that previous bullish green candle initiated from. So there's a lot of sell pressure here, but right now we are within the consolidation, but we're looking at the price action a little bit more bullish because we've broken this descending trend line and now retested it once, twice, and now for a third time as a new level of support. And then we're also coming to our zone of confluence, which is going to be this area right here, because we've seen a level of support get held, as well as our new descending level, which is going to be a new level of support. So there's a zone of confluence for demand right here, and that's where the price could lead to start making some momentum back up to the resistance. But we're still looking at the price in a zone of consolidation. We're not looking to enter long at this point because we don't have enough confirmation that the bulls are going to continue upward, because we've seen the price slam 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So there's a lot of sell pressure here. We don't think that this risk reward is good enough in order for us to risk our money. We'd rather wait until, even if the price does come here and then jump up to this level, we want to see the price hold above this level before we look to enter, because then we have a higher probability of being right. At this point in time, if we enter at the second touch of the support, we could just have the price hit this level of resistance yet again and come right back down, and that is a risk reward that for me is not good enough for risk my money in. So for now, we're just going to be holding very patiently on our alt longs and going to be sitting on our hands, basically being very patient. That's a good way of putting it. So now let's talk about the other tools that we like to use. We're going to first look at BTC longs. Hasn't moved a lot since we last talked about it. We always talk about this. There's not a whole lot to talk about. Previous level of resistance, new level of support, broken, and now has held above the previous high there. So we've made a higher high, it looks like, and this could be a lower high even if we come back down below a little bit, as long as we're above holding this previous resistance as a new level of support. It does look good. We can see the continuation of the trend still emerge, and even if it fails, we're still in a consolidation as long as we're above our zone of consolidation and confluence, which is above this zone, because it's a confluence zone. A rising horizontal or rising ascending support, as well as a horizontal support, creating a zone of confluence. As long as the price is above that zone, looking a little bit more bullish, because we're seeing higher lows in this chart. Sorry, a little bit of hiccups there. And then the next thing we're going to look at is also the coin farm, just looking at the longs and shorts in the different exchanges. So let's get our arrow or our snip here. So we see on the 24-hour, which is this run right here, BitMEX has 51.6% longs and 48% shorts. So BitMEX is more long. Binance is a little bit more long, 50.2% longs, 49.8% shorts. So basically break even. And then Bybit has more long positions, 24 hours, 52.4, whereas only 47.5 on the short positions. So on the three exchanges that we're looking at, it does look more long biased, because we got 51.6 on BitMEX, and we got 50.2 on Binance and 52.4 on Bybit. All three of them are going to have more longs than shorts. So then there's going to be more people making money if the price goes up than down, which they could be adding to their positions, and then short sellers get squeezed out. So it does look a little bit more bullish on the 24-hour short long percentages. Now to the 1 hour, it still is more bullish. It's leaning more towards the buy side. 52% of people on BitMEX are long within 1 hour, and then only 47.9% of people are short. So there's a lot more people that are long than short on the 1 hour. On BitMEX, on Binance, similar type of situation. We see 51.8% of people that are long, and only 48.2% of people on Binance that are short. And then on Bybit, we see basically break even, 50.8% of people long and 49.2% of people that are short. And then basically we don't really look at the two other exchanges there. So overall, it does look like it's a little bit more bullish. And let's just take that out because we don't need it anymore. So it does look pretty bullish overall. Looking at the long shorts, as well as looking at the price action, it does look a little bit more bullish. We are seeing the price come back a little bit, but it's still holding above our zone of confluence. So if I had to guess, if I had to choose, I'd be more bullish, but I don't want to put money on that just yet. I'd like to see a little bit more of a confirmation of the bulls taking charge, coming back into the market, and breaking above this zone and being able to hold above this zone. Once that is actually come in, and once that is seen on the 4-hour chart, because we've just seen wicks protrude out of that zone, once we're able to see that 4-hour chart, and especially ideally the daily chart, hold above that zone, then we'd be looking really, really solid. But remember, we always want to be trying to anticipate this green bullish push right here, because it doesn't always happen where we see nice steps. We could just see a massive bullish push like we see here. So we want to have some exposure to the long side, and that's exactly what we're seeing. It would be nice to see a nice stepping pattern like this, but unfortunately that doesn't always happen. So we want to ensure that we're always ready to see that bullish push if it does come through. So hope you liked that TA on BTC. There is definitely some consolidation with the bulls and bears both within the market, but overall our bias is still bullish. If you have any questions, hop in the Discord and either message Nathan or myself, Keith, and we'll be happy to assist you in any questions that you may have. If you have any questions about what tools we're using, why we're looking at the charts we're looking at, why we're doing top-down analysis, all this stuff, we'll be happy to assist you with any questions you have. So until next time, happy trading, and I hope you guys and girls have a really good rest of the week and finish off strong on this glorious Monday morning. So until next time, happy trading, everyone.